Yuba-Sutter.live's local government live streams are presented by Plumas Lake Self Storage in Plumas Lake, where lifelong local residents are helping other residents keep things safe, providing indoor storage units, outdoor RV and vehicle parking, moving supplies, and Penske truck rentals. Details at plumaslakeselfstorage.com.
The new equipment, the new equipment didn't get completely installed today until about 3 o'clock, so we haven't had a whole lot of time to work out all the bugs, so sorry about that. Oh, went off now that you have the TVs, so we turn this off, just, yeah. This one will be going away soon, so, and I think you'll see a better picture on the TV if you yeah. I'm gonna see if that's possible. They're heavy, they're really heavy, so I may not be able to use a tilt mount just because of safety reasons, but I will see what we can do. I'll see if in phase 2 when we do the new screen coming down, I'll see if I can add a popcorn machine.
We're having some technical difficulty.
Off there, I'm like going to setting, there's a phantom other. That's and then that's what. Oh, that's why.
For restarting the computer, so 1 sec, sorry. Yeah.
Why am I not coming back up though?
Really close.
I promise. Okay. Okay.
All right, good evening, Dr. Israni, President Davis, members of the board, my colleagues, and audience members. Sorry for that technical difficulty. I'm Jay Trujillo, the Assistant Superintendent of Educational Services, and I'm here with my esteemed colleague, Mr. Bob Eckert. Bob and Jay, sound like a really cool place to hang out, right? Tonight we have the pleasure to share with you some information regarding the middle school, the middle college academy. And I'm quite aware that the board, and at this point, just about everybody is pretty aware of the features of the Board Academy. So I'm going to highlight some of the new programmatic elements of the Middle College Academy that we're bringing, and just quickly review some of the essential information that we've reviewed in the past. First, right hot off the presses, you should know that the Yuba College Board of Education did approve the facility MOU with MJUSD at their 413 board meeting. So it's official, we're good, and we have the facility in place. One of the new elements for the Middle College campus that we're really pleased about and we want to bring to your attention is that for students in grade 10 through 12, those whose physical or mental well-being indicate that this campus in particular would be best suited to meet their needs, we want to be able to provide that option for them. We must consider the circumstances and we must consider the location, right? It's a college campus, there's rigorous, they'd be away from, their home high school, their friends, and those such of things. So we want to be very careful about the process used for students who are going to be entering in 10th through 12th grade. So there will be a case-by-case basis. It will include a recommendation from both their principal and their high school counselor. And ultimately, you should also know that transportation has been a feature options in order to ensure that the kiddos can get to the middle college campus and their home high school before and after school. It's not advancing. These features of the structure of the program you're well aware of. It's all obviously located on the campus. It's a blend of courses. Students will be pursuing both their high school diploma and their AA degree. The benefits are, we've talked about a good deal, essentially great flexibility for the kiddos, a variety of options for whatever their post-secondary educational aspirations are. And again, not covered last time, but now we can cover it, is transportation options to and from their home high school is available. We've talked about the profile of the middle college student. Essentially, it's a student who's highly engaged, it's motivated, they're capable, And now it's students whose special needs require an alternative campus. Essentially, it's meeting their needs that currently the traditional high schools or no other option in our current district is available to meet. So we're excited about that. Also want to point out that recently we're in discussions with Yuba County Health Leaders Officials and Yuba County Office of Education to ensure that we also have a wellness center on this campus. So we recognize that if we're pulling students away from their home high school where maybe those wellness centers exist, we want to make sure that they also have access to high quality needs and support on the Yuba College campus. Why do we need this program? Highlighted that we believe that there's 4 critical reasons why. First and foremost, it's that the community needs it. We've heard this loud and clear from community leaders and business officials, and they believe, as do we, that this meets a need of our community. We also believe that this program is going to be better suited to meet some of the individual needs of our schools and those students who would be better served at the middle college high school campus. We've also highlighted the fact that we believe that the middle college campus will allow us to retain more students into our district who are currently leaving, and you can see they're leaving by the droves. That's nearly 1,000 students just in 22-23. And we believe this because of the survey that we have conducted, and we did get at least 50 responses, but from those responses, we highlighted that 26% said that maybe they would attend, but better, 34% said that they would attend. And in that survey, we highlighted some of the key features of the middle college campus, and those are what you see highlighted on the screen. We also believe that in a short order, that is within the 2 years, that we believe that the middle college campus will be self-sustaining due to increased ADA, right? That's increased enrollment into our district as well as into the school. And what we did not highlight for you previously is that there are no administrative costs associated with running this new school, because Mr. Eckert here is the all-knowing, do-all principal, as well as currently existing with his role as the adult ed and community partnership director. Also, I want to highlight that the funding for the startup of the college is determined, and it's acceptable, or I should say appropriate, according to guidelines. The 4th reason we highlighted for you, or we want to highlight for you as to why this program, why now, is that the research is conclusive. It is good for kids, in particular students of color and students of low SES economic status. Good in what way? Well, they're more likely to enroll into college after high school, they're more likely to return for year 2, and they're more likely to complete a college degree, which ultimately is what we're going after. This slide simply shows you the difference in those students who have dual enrollment experience, and that's the dark blue graph, or bar, I should say, and the light blue is those who don't have dual enrollment experiences. So in other words, bachelor's attainment, which is the first set of blue, is higher, much higher. AA degree, it's a little bit higher, but then any degree that is combining those two is what you see in the last set of bars. We also value data-driven decision-making in MJUSD and wanted to just share a little bit of the data surrounding our programs that are geared towards college-bound students, as well as the students themselves. So here are the college-going rates. What I did not share previously with you is the rates for MCAA. So you can see that listed is there. But we are proud of the fact that we're higher than the county, but we also want to see if we can eclipse the state here. So that's a goal that we have, and we believe it's attainable. Where are our students going to college? You can see it depicted here, and there is much room for improvement, in particular for students who are attending either a UC campus or a Cal State campus. Those numbers we'd like to see much higher, and we believe that they will be. This simply shows those students in AP courses who, should they attend college, and we believe that they will, may end up getting college credit due to their performance. These are the core classes of AP offerings at our high schools. It does not include things like studio art, music theory, Spanish literature and language. So it's not everything, but it's the core. So these are 5 years worth of data of those students who attain a 3 or higher. A 3, again, is the bar. They have to attain a 3 in order to be eligible for that college credit. I'm happy to report that for Marysville High School and Lyndhurst, that 2022 is the second highest over the last 5-year period. So they should be proud, and we expect those numbers to increase this year. For MCAA, 2022 was the highest. We just want to highlight here that the rigor of both dual enrollment and AP courses is high, as determined by a third-party entity. It's the College Board with respect to AP, and then it's the UC-CSU Chancellor's Office with respect to CSU and UC rigor. We want to show the retention rates of our students who are in either early college, dual enrollment, or advanced placement, simply to show that we do lose a little bit of students upon first entering the program, and then those who finish the program. But for both our early college and AP, we're well into the 80% or higher range. It is a bit lower for dual enrollment. We believe a reason for that is the fact that these courses or classes at either Lyndhurst or Marysville occur after the school day. So the students have already put in a full day of study, and now they have one more, right? That is not a challenge that either our early college students or our AP students confront. So therein may be some reason why the retention rate is a little bit lower. So how do our students, so we've seen results for AP, how do our students do, those who are attending dual enrollment courses, whether they be, this is for the early college program. So this is after 2 years worth of operation. Cohort 1, you can see there that 96% of that cohort is earning college credit. And they're not just barely squeaking by. They're 79% have A's and B's in the course. And looking at cohort 2, we got 95% who got a C or better, again, with 83% scoring A's and B's. So it's obvious to us that our students can, our students do, because the evidence is here. So that's my short presentation. I'm going to turn it over to my esteemed colleague, Mr. Eckert, and he's going to talk a little bit about the daily life for a middle college student.
Thank you, Jay. Okay, so this is a traditional high school schedule or opportunity of a schedule that we would see at Marysville High School, Lyndhurst High School. And you can see the variety of courses that are in there. There's opportunities to take AP, there's opportunities to take CTE classes, and then the college credits that would be assigned thereof based on their AP scores. The Middle College Academy is a much different situation, and we've talked at length about different scenarios and whatnot, and kind of breaking it down a little bit more concisely. Their year 1 and year 2, those are going to be very set, secure classes. Specifically, they're going to be in year 1. These are closed courses. It's just going to be for our middle college students. They're all going to be taking the same courses, and with the academic achievement class as a support as well. They will be going through this. Their second year, they will also be taking the same courses. There might be some tweaking based on what their college counselor is recommending, but for the most part, that will be, those courses hit the general education required for the AA or AS degree. When you get into years 3 and 4, there are some courses that they will all take, but at that point, that's when, and that's the difference with this particular program, depending on what the student is interested in doing, they're starting to branch out and go in that direction. Hey, I'm really interested in nursing or the medical program, so their college counselor is going to get them slotted in for those classes. Or, hey, you know what, I'm really, into this industrial manufacturing, so then they start getting into those courses as well in their senior year. Also, within their senior year, it changes from academic advisement to where the seniors will have a senior seminar, and that will be the work of a senior portfolio, as well as preparing for the next step, whether that be college applications, whether that be applying for grants and scholarships, things of that nature. It's that culminating event of this is what I've done my 6 years in 4 that they'll have to produce when they're finished with this. The enrollment considerations, we really are looking for parent engagement, attendance, discipline, academic contract. Middle school attendance must be at a 95% or higher. Their middle school 8th grade must be a 3.0. No major discipline, and there is an essay required on the application process that is done by hand. It is not done on computer. For that purpose, we want to see to make sure, A, it's the student's actual writing. They don't have a ghostwriter. They're not using the AI, which apparently is starting to become very popular with students, and I don't understand it, but it's not their work. As well as staff recommendation letters, an English teacher, a math teacher, and either counselor or administrator. All of that is going to be on our website, and it's going to be on Google Forms, so it'll be very easy to do. After the approval of the program, we will begin the marketing campaign for this school year. That will entail of a series of parent information nights held at the Yuba College campus, the 700 building, which is where this middle college will be located. It will be open to all, and we'll explain what we are, what the process is, and what the next steps would be should their students and the families be interested. Our Middle College Academy is free of charge for parents, just like any public education. We have applied for the middle school grant. The grant timeline is July of 23 through 27, and that maximum award, which we are hoping for, is $250,000. So that will help offset some costs there. Questions?
Are there any questions from the board?
Got a quick one. I like that you included transportation for students to and from the campus, but I'm thinking, if a student's working during the day, they go to night classes, what is it going to look like for that student to get transported to Yuba College classes in the evening time?
So the working piece of it will come really when the student becomes a junior or a senior. It's not going to be for freshman or sophomore. And at that particular case, we haven't worked with that, but typically if they have a job, most of them are going to have transportation for the job as well. But right now, we are set for mornings and afternoons.
We also are aware that bus passes are going to be available for the kiddos through conversations with Yuba College officials. So that's free of charge to us. That's something that they'll pick up the charge for.
My only question is, with the change in verbiage or what's been added, I just want clarification that when you're stating mental and physical well-being may be considered. So is there going to be any student that has any behavioral issues that would be considered to move over to this site? Would they also still need to qualify with all the other standards? You know what I'm saying? Like, I just don't want this to become a dump site for behavioral issues. If by chance, if we want to try a different setting, you know what I'm saying?
Yes, yeah, absolutely, thank you. Similar to the criteria that we have for, initially it was all about incoming freshmen, right? And we had a criterion for no serious disciplinary problems in middle school or 8th grade. So I would envision a similar mindset for students who are coming over. That said, what is the behavior? What's serious, for example? So I suspect that, you know, we'll have to cross that bridge should it come. But serious disciplinary problems, students coming over, don't see it happening because, frankly, that would not be the environment for them. There's going to be much less supervision. There's much less oversight. You know, there's a lot of freedom that are allowed to students. They're going to have a lot of time probably on the campus, you know, in between classes. So there are a lot of variables that we also want to be mindful of and responsive to.
I have a few questions. Do we have a cap, and what is it if we do for this first year?
We are hoping that it would be approximately 30 or so students from current MJUSD enrollment, and the additional enrollment, we would be happy to get up to 100 kids, but it really is dependent on how many students who would normally have left are now going to stay, and how many students maybe are outside of the district who would be interested in coming over. So from internally, it's 30, but we hope and would expect a bit more from there.
All right. And you mentioned a wellness center. Are we providing that, or is the college providing that?
Currently, we don't have the exact formula for that wellness center, but we are in discussion. So not so much the college. This is discussions with Yuba County health leaders and the Yuba County Office of Education. So that's the group that we're talking with in order to provide that support of services on the Yuba College campus. They'll already have access to existing stuff that's there. But in terms of additional, those are the conversations that we're involved in right now.
All right. And looking at your schedule at a glance, it looks to me like your freshmen and sophomores don't have any math, or what is integrated, 1 or 2?
That is their math. It's either they'll take an integrated 1 class or an integrated 2 class, depending on what they test into for math. And that is high school math.
All right, thank you.
You bet.
I'm going to ask Mr. Steeman's question, but in the opposite. Because of the change of the language, I just want to make sure that there are exemptions made for individuals who couldn't find a sense of place at their current high schools, right? I believe that that's part of the intent. And we know from research that not finding a sense of place often affects students' performance academically. So because there's a high bar for these students to enter the middle school college, are there going to be exceptions made for students who are actually academically gifted, but their academic performance on paper has been terrible because they couldn't find a home for themselves at their high schools?
Yeah, that's a wonderful idea, which, to be honest, we just haven't brought it to the table. But for example, a student with a high IQ that maybe is not performing because, as you said, maybe they're bored or maybe they're just not being challenged sufficiently. So we would welcome all of those ideas, because ultimately what we want is the students who would best be served there to be there.
Let me answer that question, if I may. I think one of the reasons that the team decided to bring this item back with the new change is in response to the trauma we faced as a community a couple of weeks ago. I've personally met with parents who said, we need a place that is not the traditional high school. And it made us think that, okay, were we being too restrictive in this new option, just keeping it only for 9th grade students? What if there's a 10th or an 11th or a 12th grade student who needs just another place to be? There was a student who met with myself, Brian, Zach, couple of our sheriff support officers. We met quite a few parents during those weeks. We were listening deeply to their concerns about why their children don't feel the high schools are supporting them. And we found a student who was not academically ready, but was very artistic, and the interest was art. And we felt MCA was a good placement, and we were able to do that. But similarly, we kept thinking, what if there's a student very similar to what Mrs. Steeman said? A child who is in high school right now who does not feel they belong, and we give them 3 options right now. We do give them a lot of options here. There are the 2 traditional high schools. There's a School of the Arts, there's a continuation high school, and there is online high school. Well, if the child is not artistic, MCA is not an option. If the child is not in continuation, that is not the option. If the child is not going to be online, that is definitely not the option. And we faced those students who came and said, give us something else. And so we feel, to your point, that's why the language here is so stringent. Who knows a child best? The counselors and the principals. They have the absolute knowledge, looking at the child's performance, understanding the child, and saying, you know what? Maybe the child doesn't have a 3.2 GPA, but she's a real motivated child. Her mind has been elsewhere. I think this would be a good placement for her. Let's give it a shot. That is why we are back again with this, because we felt we were too restrictive in the first round.
I also would echo those same comments in an example in talking about how students, it's night and day between high school and a college setting, in that, yeah, there's gonna have a lot of freedoms and not a whole lot of oversight when they're on the campus. And so I think the key word we wanna address is maturity level. And that, how do you gauge somebody's maturity level? I mean, it's gonna be difficult. There's a lot of factors involved in this vetting process to see who can do it and who can't. And I think maturity definitely will have a lot of input on that. Like for example, say for example, a student, they're checking off all the boxes, they're meeting all the criteria, but then they have the written essay part and they just bomb the essay. I'm not a good writer. I know some people are like that, are really smart, can do the work, but when it comes to writing an essay, they run for the hills. And I like the idea of doing a handwritten essay. I think that's really smart. But what if, and this is just a what if we open that up to say instead of doing an essay, maybe they're doing some kind of project or community project where they're doing something, or a presentation where they get up and they speak. I think there's different modalities of assessing students who will fit this program and be successful, because that's ultimately what we want. We want successful students. And we also want to include the people that they want to find their place, obviously. That's a huge part of it as well. But yeah, there's a lot of moving parts to this that we need to figure out. And I know we don't have all the answers yet, but I think we're definitely in the right direction as far as the language and the intent.
What I might just say in response is we don't want to put any artificial barriers before our kiddos. And I know I will be, I know Mr. Eckert will be, I know an entire MJUSD office would be, that is open to making changes when we see that changes are necessary, or when we confront something that maybe was not thought about in advance. So we're not rigid, we want to be responsive, we want to be flexible, but we have a starting point, and then as we experience something that was maybe unplanned or unknown, we'll be responsive and make adjustments accordingly.
Any other questions from the board? If not, Angela Stiegel, you have a comment card?
Good evening, Angela Stiegel, President for the Marysville Unified Teachers Association. And I don't think it's a surprise that I'm up here and that I have things to say. The unfortunate thing is the fact that 3 minutes would never be enough time for me to say everything I have to say at this point. For one, just to continue to go back and reiterate the fact that we keep gloating and bragging about this number of 34% said they want this. That's 34% of 50. Which simple math tells you, not even integrated math, tells you that simple math, 17 people. On top of that, if you look at the chart that they gave you, and what we're being told is that 2 or 3 teachers, actually we're told 2, but maybe 3 teachers will go out there, my teachers, and teach 16 different courses to 4 different grade levels now in the very first year. That sounds like a great idea and a great plan, especially considering you don't even have an agreement with the teachers union for any of this, which also begs the question when you look at that same little chart about what the schedule is going to look like, is you are giving away my union work to people who don't belong to my union, which also has not been addressed, hasn't even been discussed. Then on top of that, for the first time in my life in this school district, we have free transportation, because going by your own board agenda, the dollar amount for this program still sits exactly what it was a month ago, but yet we're now providing transportation. I want to know how we managed to have free transportation for the first time ever. On top of that, we also have a number of issues with the fact that you still have the retention rates for the early college program are completely inaccurate, and our high school counselors can tell you that, along with all of the academic numbers that were in there about their achievement in their courses and what their grades and such look like. You have been told, I have said this repeatedly, it's at least the 3rd time I've said it, that that information is patently wrong and incorrect. I don't know what else to say at this point in time. But also, I have to say that I find it patently offensive that my superintendent will sit up here and make a comment like, who knows students best is a counselor and the site administration. I beg to differ as a classroom teacher. On top of that, I don't understand how we can sit here and keep making comments about how wonderful this program is going to be, because apparently the deal is that we're not doing our jobs at the high schools. Do you have any idea how degrading this is to the consistently and existing sites that you have that are doing their best? But on top of that, I also want to make mention of the fact that the school board received a cure and correct letter from our legal department with CTA and our lawyers in regards to the fact that you have Brown Act violations from at least 2 previous meetings. There's no doubt in my mind this meeting was planned more than 2 days ago. And so this does nothing to convince me that this board in this district wants to be transparent.
Thank you. Do I hear a motion?
I make a motion to, that the board approve the proposed revisions to the middle college program presented by the staff this evening, and in so doing that we also ratify our March 7th, 2023 action to approve this program that will greatly benefit students in our community.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Allison Steve. Motion's been made by Gary Criddle. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Meeting adjourned.
Yuba-Sutter.live's local government live streams are presented by Plumas Lake Self Storage in Plumas Lake, where lifelong local residents are helping other residents keep things safe, providing indoor storage units, outdoor RV and vehicle parking, moving supplies, and Penske truck rentals. Details at plumaslakeselfstorage.com.